They've fought together, bled together, led the world together. For more than 75 years, the United States and the United Kingdom have been tied by what politicians call the special relationship. From the darkest days of World War II through the icy tension of the Cold War and into the battlefields of Iraq and Afghanistan, these two nations have stood shoulder to shoulder. But let's pause for a second. Are they really best friends forever? Beneath the speeches, smiles, and carefully worded statements, what's the truth behind this transatlantic alliance? Today, we unravel the politics, the power, the promises, and ask the big question: is the special relationship still special? In the crucible of World War II, a military bond was forged that would shape the global order for generations. The United States and the United Kingdom, two nations separated by an ocean, but united by a common enemy, stood shoulder to shoulder against Nazi Germany. Their partnership went beyond just troops and tactics. They shared intelligence, traded critical technologies, and coordinated some of the most complex military operations in history. Think of the D-Day landings in Normandy, June 6, 1944. Over 150,000 Allied soldiers, mostly American, British, and Canadian, charged across those beaches in a joint effort to liberate Europe. It was a masterpiece of cooperation, planning, and courage, a moment where two nations bled together for a shared cause. And when the war finally ended, when the guns fell silent in Europe, Victory in Europe Day wasn't just a triumph of arms, but a symbol of unity between two powerful allies. But let's not sugarcoat history. Even as they fought side by side, the balance of power was shifting. The British Empire, once the ruler of a quarter of the globe, was beginning to decline. The United States, rapidly emerging as a new global superpower. That tension, quiet and unspoken, would shape their relationship for decades to come. When the dust of World War II settled, a new shadow rose in the East: the Soviet Union. The world didn't slip back into peace. It froze into a new kind of conflict. The Cold War. This wasn't about tanks and trenches anymore. It was a war of ideology, espionage, and nuclear nerves. And once again, the United States and United Kingdom stood together. They formed NATO, a military alliance to defend democracy. They shared intelligence, strategized against communism, and coordinated their foreign policies like never before. The UK even gained early access to the American nuclear program, a sign of deep trust and shared destiny. But behind that trust, the balance had changed. The United States emerged as a superpower. With its vast economy, global military reach, and atomic arsenal, it became the clear leader. Britain, dealing with the loss of empire and economic strain, became the junior partner in what was once an equal alliance. On-screen graphic comparison chart: 1950s, military power. US nuclear warheads, 3,000 plus UK nuclear warheads, less than 200 US military spending, 10 times the UK. Still, the cooperation was unprecedented. MI6 and the CIA worked hand in hand. Covert operations were planned jointly, and British influence remained strong across the globe. In many ways, the Cold War cemented their bond. Together, they shaped the modern Western world. But as we'll see, even the strongest bonds get tested. Even the strongest friendships get tested, and the so-called special relationship between the United States and the United Kingdom, oh, it had its share of cracks. In 1956, Britain, along with France and Israel, invaded Egypt to seize back control of the Suez Canal after its nationalization. But they didn't tell the Americans. President Eisenhower was furious. The US demanded an immediate withdrawal and even threatened to wreck the British economy by selling off US holdings of the British pound. The message was loud and clear. The era of British imperial muscle flexing was over, and the US was now the one calling the shots. Then came Vietnam. As American troops fought and fell in the jungles of Southeast Asia, their British allies stayed out of it. No troops, no boots on the ground, only diplomatic and logistical support. The UK's refusal was based on moral concerns and political caution, but to many Americans, it felt like a betrayal. And in 1982, the tables turned. The UK found itself in a war of its own, fighting Argentina over the Falkland Islands. At first, the US tried to play neutral peacekeeper, but when intelligence showed Argentina was receiving Soviet-backed weaponry, the US quietly shifted gears. Suddenly, American satellite intel, logistics, and supplies flowed to the British fleet. It was subtle, but critical. These moments, Suez, Vietnam, the Falklands, proved one thing. The US-UK alliance was real, but it was never unconditional. It wasn't just friendship. It was strategy, national interest, and sometimes tough love. Fast forward to the 21st century, and the US-UK bromance is still going strong. Sure, it's evolved, but the foundation built on decades of shared history, military cooperation, and values, that's still rock solid. Take Tony Blair, for instance. In the early 2000s, he stood shoulder to shoulder with George W. Bush in both Iraq and Afghanistan. They made big, bold decisions, and sometimes, even when the world was questioning them, they were in it together. Intelligence sharing reached new heights, and their joint military exercises became a symbol of their enduring military partnership. When the US needed boots on the ground, the UK was right there with them. And it didn't stop with Bush. The UK and US have maintained strong ties with leaders like Barack Obama and David Cameron, two men who not only tackled international issues, but also tackled them with that undeniable Anglo-American style. Today, even under Joe Biden and UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, the alliance remains just as robust, whether it's counterterrorism, cybersecurity, or climate change. The US and UK are tackling the world's biggest issues together. But it's not just all work and no play. Culturally, they're totally in sync. Think of it as a long-distance friendship. Sure, there are disagreements every now and then, whether it's over trade or the occasional royal scandal, but at the end of the day, they're still best buds. From the Oval Office to 10 Downing Street, their relationship remains one of the most enduring and unique partnerships on the global stage. Because no matter what, the US and UK have always had each other's backs. And sometimes, even when the world changes, that's all you really need. So, are they really best friends forever? Technically, no formal treaties or binding laws say that the US and the UK must be besties for life, but practically, they might as well be. They still share nuclear codes. They still trust each other with highly sensitive intelligence. They still move as one in times of crisis, like during military interventions or natural disasters. But here's the truth. Their partnership isn't just about friendship. It's about strategy. It's about history. It's about two nations who have spent centuries building this relationship for mutual benefit. Whether it's trade deals, military cooperation, or diplomacy, the US and UK always seem to be on the same page. Even when things get tricky, like with Brexit, their core alliance remains unshaken. Take AUKUS, for example, one of the most significant military partnerships of the 21st century. It brought the US, UK, and Australia together in the Indo-Pacific, reaffirming the shared interests that continue to bind the US and UK. But beyond strategy, there's also that emotional loyalty. Years of shared experience, sacrifice, and sometimes even personal bonds between leaders have created something harder to define, but no less real. From war rooms to war zones, from tough diplomatic talks to moments of personal warmth, the US and UK have always moved together. Whether it's supporting each other in times of crisis or finding common ground in international disputes, they truly act like partners, like best friends, in many ways. So, are they really best friends forever, in the truest sense? Maybe not in the way you and I might define friendship, but in the world of international relations, where trust, shared goals, and mutual respect are the real currencies, this is as close as it gets. The USA and UK have gone from empire and colony to equals on the world stage, a relationship forged in war, tested by time, and built on trust. But what do you think? Is the special relationship still special, or is it just branding? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Do you believe the US and UK's bond is genuine, or is it a carefully crafted diplomatic strategy? Like the video if you learned something new, and subscribe for more deep dives into global history and politics. We've got plenty more coming your way. Until next time, stay curious.